Hello, it's Aaron here with Disruptors. I'm here with David Olds. He flew all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're going to find out a little about him.
Hey, I'm David Olds, and I am from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my company is ezREIclosing.
Cool. So thank you for having me, first off, before we get into any of that stuff.
Of course.
It's very cool to be here.
First of all, what do you do in the real estate space?
So I've done a lot of things as a 20-year investor, but the thing that
20
we do...
years, wow.
20 years, yeah, I know. It seems ridiculous, right?
I was 5 when you started.
Well, I was, 8, so it's okay. So I run a company called ezREIclosing.
Okay.
And we are the country's largest virtual transaction coordination company. So what that means is our clients are investors and wholesalers all around the country and who really want to focus on scaling up their business, doing more deals and making more money. So what we do all of the paperwork for them, right? All of the collecting documents from their sellers, dealing with title companies, all that stuff that really just...
The boring stuff.
It is the boring stuff that's not exciting.
Gotcha.
It's nobody got into real estate to do paperwork. They got in to do deals, right? To, contract sellers and sell their deal to buyers and make a bunch of money and get that endorphin hit. So, yeah, that's what we do.
So our company helps investors in all 50 states, and we will help them close all types of transactions. So wholesale, novation, subject to, creative, like all of the different types of deals. So a question that we get asked quite a bit is, what's the difference between a novation and a wholesale deal? Well, in a wholesale deal, typically you are looking for a cash buyer because the assignment fee is on the buyer side of the transaction, and a bank won't lend to that. So novation, very simply, it's a different way of doing the transaction, right? So where the shortest version is where your assignment fee is effectively on the seller side, and then the buyer can go and get a more traditional loan, FHA, conventional VA, that type of thing. So the reason that we got into that is when we started ezREIclosing, one of my friends who taught a lot of novations, he was one of the first people that we started helping, and he sent a lot of his students to our company. So almost over 45% of all transactions that we close are novations. So that's something that we're really good at.
You told me you started wholesale in 2009.
2009.
Okay, but I did read before you were about to go to law school?
That was a thing that I wanted to do when I was a kid in high school. I went to Central Catholic, which is a all-boys Catholic school in Lawrence, Massachusetts, which is amazing. Had the greatest experience there.
For college?
That was my high school.
That was your high school.
And there was, when I came out of there, I wanted to go to law school. Okay. What happened was, that was back when LA law, it was cool to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And, you saw all the TV lawyers. And so about that time, my cousin became an attorney in Florida. And so I talked to him. And I said, hey, I want to be an attorney. He's like, but do you? I'm like, well, what do you mean? What's it like? He's like, the reality was not what I thought it was. And he's like, listen, dude, I sit in a law library all day. That's all that I do. And I'm working literally 18 hours a day. My family life is terrible because all I do is work. And I realized it wasn't the thing I wanted to be out there helping people and doing that type of stuff, but it wasn't that. It was working for corporations and sitting in libraries all day, just doing research, and that wasn't fun for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think your biggest lesson has been in your 20 years in real estate?
Oh, without a doubt, a couple things. One, partnering is not always the best way to go, and that's not to say that some partnerships aren't great and fruitful, but typically, the reason that I partnered with people was because I thought that person could do something that I could not. And that was a limiting belief. The reality is, yes, of course I can apply for bank loans. Of course I can figure out how to run payroll. Of course I can get lines of credit. And it's far cheaper to hire somebody to do that instead of partner and give away 50% of your equity. Because partnerships are tough, not because somebody's good or bad, but partnerships like train tracks, right? You have to run on parallel agenda. And the moment one of you starts to want to do something else, well, now you have a problem, right? And now you have that. There's a chasm that has to be fixed. So, so the two things I've learned, one is that, right, after going through a couple of partnerships, and some of them ended fine, some of them ended a little more contentiously, but partnerships are tough. The other thing is, and maybe kind of along those same lines, is bringing people in to help you with your business. We've talked about this a couple times today. It's impossible to do it all yourself. especially if you want to run a real business and you want to build something that's scalable, right? There's just math and science tell us there's only 24 hours in the day. There's just so much time that you've got. And there's a ceiling on what you can accomplish yourself. And, working with other people, and especially bringing people in who their, area of greatness is in that spot where it's a blind spot for you, or maybe you're not great at, bringing somebody in that can help you there, who also, goes along with that. They believe in your vision and, where you want to take your company and the growth that you want to have. When you can find those things, it's like 3 sevens on the slot machine, right? That's when you see your business start to really catapult.
Okay, my last question to you then is, a lot of people that are in the real estate space, everything's about them. They don't want to, land off control or even have someone help them.
Sure.
Someone that's new that wants to get up in volume, what advice you give them to kind of let go some of what they're doing so they can do more volume and you maybe work with someone like you?
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
That mindset is what's keeping you from growing your business.
I like that.
It is. The truth is, because I was that guy, right? I was that guy for the first couple of years who had to do everything. And I realized I was working 18 hours a day trying to do marketing, trying to do acquisitions, trying to do dispo, because nobody could do it better than me. Because listen, the reality is, all of us investors, we all got a little touch of the narcissism, right? Like, we think we're the best, and there is nobody that scales up their company without bringing in help to do the parts of the business that they're not amazing at. Nobody. Elon Musk, we were just talking about him earlier.
Yeah, we were.
Do you think Elon's down there putting, decals on the Tesla as they come on? No. Right? They hire somebody to do that for them.
That makes sense.
Because that is not the highest and best use of their time. So if you're that person who thinks, I've got to do everything and nobody can do it as good as me, you're wrong. Like, and this is what's keeping your company from growing right now. And I know that's probably controversial to some people, but the reality is, we're here in Steve's office. Do you think Steve is over here doing, setting up the web, or the investor lift web form? Of course not, right?
Yeah.
He's got people that love doing that and that are amazing at that, so he can run the business.
Hire someone that's good at or loves doing the stuff you don't like doing.
Yeah, listen, in my case, it's not just transactions. Like this, as soon as I hired somebody, my life changed overnight. But also, I didn't want to do PPC either. I had a good friend of mine sit me down and go, okay, so let me show you how to run a PPC, a Google Ads campaign, right? And he loved that stuff. And literally, he sat here, I sat here, I'm watching his screen. I knew 10 minutes in, there was zero chance
that you're doing
that I was doing any of the stuff. And I was there to help train his team on some stuff. So he was trying to do this for me to be helpful, and he's my dearest friend, but no chance.
Yeah.
My brain just doesn't work that way. I don't want to sit there and go, and it's brain damage, right? So, I hired somebody for $1,000 a month that would run my PPC campaign. That's the highest and best use of my time, going out and, doing the things that I'm good at, talking to people and creating deals and doing those things, not the minutia, right? Listen, man, some people love changing their own oil. And if you love it, you should do it. But do you really love it, or are you just afraid to give up control?
I don't like changing my own oil.
Dude,
I will give that away.
Listen,
every day of the week.
if I was to crawl underneath my car, I'd get stuck like Winnie the Pooh. You'd just see my legs kicking, right? That's all you would see. So obviously, there are things that we're not built for either.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do the things that you love. People got into this business, right? Because they want to make a lot of money. They want to go talk to sellers and make the deal, help the seller, right? And then I want to take that deal and I want to go to this buyer, right? And I want to sell it and I want to, holy God, I'm going to make $29,500.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? Give those contracts to us. Let us close those. Go get another deal. Do the stuff that you love to do, right? You didn't get into this business to do paperwork. So, that's what we do.
Final message: do what you love to do. Go hire someone else to go do
The
what
rest.
you don't want to. Yeah, the rest of stuff.
The rest.
Thank you,
That's
Dave, for coming on. Make sure you guys check out his podcast. I'll catch you guys later.